Mind over matter, overcompensating, overstatements, crookedness relative, the soul's churn in return, mental overstimulation, one word, riveting.
Greetings, welcome back to Mad Poet Podcast. I am Alex Burdock, the Mad Poet. Good to be here. Been looking forward to this, and we have a special guest, an entrepreneur, fintech banker, novelist, ex-bodybuilder, and founder of 2 underground record labels. Interesting. Mr. Andrew Thorp, welcome to Mad Poet Podcast. How are you, sir?
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. It's actually Andrew Thorp King. Thorp is my middle name, but yeah, full name is Andrew Thorp King.
Oh, pardon me, man. Pardon me.
Yeah, no worries.
It's great to have you on.
Thanks.
There's something that springs to mind, but I was just going to read something quickly, and
Sure.
we just convene our conversation. Jumping like the toad, seeing is revealing. Picture seeing a spotted road, a sleepy animal, fears like a greedy frog, a beast as the belly grows, up and down, ready to eat pound for pound, wishing but sensing finite sounds, no way out, active breathing, dry mouth, somewhat speaking, words not loud, looking in the mirror, what way is up? Just a quote for the episode, just find something in the archive.
Is that one of your poems? Who wrote it?
Yeah, it's a one of the pieces I wrote. I like to just have a segue where I just share like a quote from my creations with the audience. So
Cool.
just a little something to share.
Okay, I like it.
Thank you. So you have quite the rich resume. The one thing that jumps out at me is just I wanted to hear, which stood out to you the most, like which is the baby out of everything that you do, you favor, if there is such a thing.
It's a good question, right? I think like if you look at the different things that I've been involved with, whether it's bodybuilding or entrepreneurial stuff, owning a gym, owning record labels, being in banking and finance, writing a spy novel, all these things, and then writing, of course, this new book, Failure Rules, the 5 Rules of Failure for Entrepreneurs, Creatives, and Authentics. It's all seasonal, right? Whatever season I'm in, one thing rises to the top. The other thing still might have input. It might have some attention, but there's something that's driving a particular season, right? And past 4 or 5 years-ish, it's really been all around this book, Failure Rules, which is the culmination of all the lessons I feel like I've learned through all my off-road entrepreneurial adventuring, through all the different interests and ventures and businesses. And, the message of this book has been the focus. So that has been my baby. I'm probably entering a period now where I'll be pregnant with a new baby as I start working on a new book, a new theme with a different type of focus. But it kind of all goes back to this idea of, I talk about this in the book, having a portfolio of pursuits, right? So just like an investment portfolio has various investments, and depending on the performance of different investments, you recalibrate and rebalance the portfolio over time. I feel like it's the same way with pursuits, right? They have different interests for different reasons, different seasons, and they recalibrate, rebalance over time based on the amount of fulfillment you're getting out of the pursuits, based on the impact, based on the success or failure of those pursuits, based on other emerging interests that come to compete with the previous interests, right? As you grow and expand. So it's the idea of not just having one thing and tying your identity to one thing, but having a very fluid identity related to your pursuits and your interests, so that you can continue to grow and you can change and pursue different things at different times at different rates to get the fulfillment you need, and have the impact that is proper, right?
Yes, indeed. I like the way you phrase it as well. Your babies, I think they should be close to heart if they mean that they should mean a lot to you. And so, I like to think of it myself as I am and all for myself. So I do like to think of it, something that's very important to me and near and dear to my heart. So the baby is the right term, as they say.
Yeah. So what is that for you?
Sorry?
So what is that for you? What is like your baby right now? What is the one that needs the most nurturing?
I would say just my writing. But if I had to say specifically, poetry has always been my baby. But because I write stories and I do different things to do with writing in general, but poetry has always been the spearhead, the thing to lead everything else.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It varies.
Cool.
But all your endeavors and exploits to do with, all the ventures that you do. I mean, for me, there is one thing that sort of stands out. I'm always speaking about, selective and one out of all of them. But there is that discipline I see across the board that is somewhat necessary to be successful in whichever one you choose. Could you share what that has meant to you, discipline, has meant to you along your journey?
Yeah, I think the discipline really follows like the initial conviction, right? When there's something that burns in me, a pursuit that I want to do, something that I want to manifest in the world, something new that I want to create or accomplish, it usually is birthed in secret, right? It's something that grows within my psyche or my mind, soul, heart, like in secret. And the longer I keep it in secret, the better it develops, just like a baby in the womb. And so I during that gestation period is where the conviction grows. Once the conviction's solidified, and once I take a few steps towards bringing something into reality in secret, by the time I reveal it to the world, it's not something that's like, oh, well, maybe you should do that, maybe you shouldn't. Like, you're not going to have this reflexive reaction from people because it already becomes real, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm writing a book and I don't really tell anybody about it, by the time they know about it, it's already real, and they're like, oh, wow, look at that. You don't have time for reflexive input, doubt that might derail the authenticity of the project. And so, I think that piece, the kind of holding it close to the chest and letting the conviction grow in secret, that reinforces discipline. As you see it develop, and that, like, wow, I'm birthing something in secret that eventually I'll reveal to the world. Or like when I did my bodybuilding competition, like, I didn't really tell anybody. I hired a trainer in secret, began the diet, started doing it. Months later, people see me like, oh, wow, look what happened. What did you do? So I think something to like keeping something close to the chest, maybe only telling a few tight people in your circle that are wildly supportive of your idea, project, or passion. And I think that keeps the discipline focused and helps you follow through and stay on track.
It sounds like you focus quite a lot on the incubation process of overall.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah.
And why is that so? If I may ask, why is that so near and dear to you? That part of it.
Again, I think it's like that's where like something forms, and sometimes it could be like subtle at first, and then over years there's layers of conviction that grows as you become more and more convinced that you need to do something in your life, something specific, right? For instance, like after I wrote this last book, there's a few ideas floating around for other books in my mind, but as I let them kind of like ruminate and sit and thought about them, and new information came in, eventually I became convicted on, oh, okay, this is the one I need to do next. Oh, now all of a sudden from the muse, the cover art's already downloaded in my mind. I can start to see the skeleton framework of the outline. It just starts coming to me. So, I think a lot of intentional solitude and reflection, allowing time to just have your mind and heart open to, whatever the divine download is going to be, that's going to convict you and give you that the information you need to figure out what's next.
Yes, indeed. And of course, I want to tap into the idea of failure, and I'm really curious about how that has changed over the periods that you've been doing what you're doing and becoming this person that we see today. Like, could you share your experience and how that failure has molded you somewhat?
Yeah, right. So I wrote the book, Failure Rules, the 5 Rules of Failure for Entrepreneurs, Creatives, and Authentics. And there was a lot of things that prompted me to write this book and convicted me to write this book, and went into the research and development of the book. But one of the main things was the quote from Winston Churchill when he said, "Success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm." Right. And there was this time, roughly 12, 13 years ago, when I was going through a twin failure experience. I just gone through like a business divorce that had to really force me to rearrange my portfolio pursuits and financial life, and I was on the precipice of what was a marital divorce at the time. And I was thinking about all the things I had done, again using this phrase, off-road entrepreneurial, adventuring, all these different things and things that I've tried, and what had I learned from each one. When certain mini or actual catastrophes happened in business. How did I handle them? What did they teach me? Why did I still think that the pursuit was worth it, even with some of the detours and failures? And I thought it was worth going into that, right? Going into the value of failure, how we can use certain things that either are failures or perceived as failures, as teachers, right? Yeah. They can be your teacher, or otherwise it'll be your under. And you take them as teachers, you separate your identity from them, realize you are not your failures. That's failure rule number 5, is you are not your failures. So you kind of have like a third party observer lens, and you see, okay, what in this is giving me a new perspective that's going to help me reshape the next version of myself as I go on to the next pursuit, or reapply myself to this pursuit, right? And it's the purification power of failure, and that's failure rule number 1, is failure purifies. It helps to strip off the things that the habits, the perceptions, the faulty ideas, the faulty foundations that need to be torn down, so we can rebuild new ones that are better informed, based on the lessons and experiences of certain pain, of certain failure. So I began to see failure as still something you obviously want to avoid preemptively. Failure, I say failure rules. That's the title of the book, but in the intro I say, well, I actually kind of lied. Failure doesn't rule. Failure sucks, but it can rule if you make it rule, right? But it still sucks. You want to avoid it, right? Nobody wants to fail. But if you're going down difficult, unorthodox paths or doing hard things, chances are you're going to have a higher rate of failure along the way. So you have to prepare for it. How are you going to confront it, metabolize it, and optimize it when it becomes inevitable to keep going on your path and get better?
I think you used the right analogy. It is somewhat of a purification process, and as soon as you said that, fire came to mind, and that's another process of purification when you think about burning away impurities.
That's right.
Yes. And people speak about the many roads that didn't led to the wrong direction, or led to the wrong way, sort of thing, wrong results. it's the same thing. You know, you have to sort of kind of get these reps out so you can get that straight, that most efficient linear direction to whatever you're trying to do. Failure, I mean, and the one thing that comes to mind to listen to your what you're speaking about to do with your processing, to do with failure, is the rite of passage. It sounds like you know, these things, it was necessary.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's certain things that you can't know how to do them fully, no matter how much you try to learn from others or research something, until you get in and do it. And then you're going to learn through the fire, right? It's that trial by fire mentality. And that means, you know, potentially some serious or a series of mini failures along the way that you have to take that information and ingest it and put it to work, and take the feedback from the failure and say, okay, great. What does this mean for me moving forward? How am I going to use this? How am I going to adapt and change and expand and recalibrate my approach? You know, and to not take it personally, and to detach your identity from these events.
Hindsight. I just want to tap into this quickly on the same topic. Hindsight. Do you think there were things, perhaps things that you could have avoided, or things that you could have maybe done a bit more efficiently? Just speaking in hindsight on certain things that you've sort of kind of exploited or did in the past, etc., pertaining to failure. In hindsight, thinking about it now.
Yeah, right. So that's an interesting question, because on the one hand, you know, I can look at my life and say everything kind of worked out the way it was supposed to work out to get me to where I am. Right. It was all this purification process that was meant to be necessary. On the other hand, I could say, that said, if I could do it over again, there's certain things that I know now that I could have avoided some unnecessary and heartache. Yeah. And one of those things probably would have been this idea of just planning more redundancy in my life, going after things that were risky. If I realized the true risks, I would have planned differently and had more scaffolding of if this, then that, redundancies built into my plans. And in my youth, I didn't do that. And so that caused a lot of pain. And now I do that. So now my life is better as a result.
Yeah. You know, just the fact that you're an author, I keep thinking about giving back. So I'm curious, what does connecting or reaching somebody through your story or experience, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the key motivations for writing the book. I mean, one of it is just to memorialize experiences and what I think I've learned for whoever wants to read it and get value out of it, even if it's just cherry picking value out of just certain portions of the book. But, you know, that's been one of the most gratifying things, is just the impact that the book has had for readers who have said, you know, yeah, after reading your book, there's things I changed in my life and my approach that is 100% giving me more joy or gratitude or success or perspective. And that's the idea, right? Like, if I think I have learned these lessons, what good are they if I don't share them to others to potentially gain from them as well, right? Like, these aren't mine to keep to myself. I didn't learn them just for me. I don't think that's kind of like, you know, the divine purpose of lessons. I think they're meant to be force multipliers, to be spread around, you know, for others to also gain from.
I mean, I would agree. I mean, of course, you know, the answer that you're giving to me, that's the reason, that's what makes you who you are, you know, that you want to give back or share it.
Yeah. I mean, I know what it means to me to consume art or literature or music that impacts me and gives me a bulwark of strength during certain situations. There's some insight that helps me move forward in a better or different way. So why not be part of that cycle and add to that vortex and put out things in the world that's going to help others also move forward better.
Where does alignment fit in the list of priorities of today's life for you?
Yeah. Yes, I talk about that in the book too. It's alignment with your calling journey, which is this idea of like this kind of mysterious, path of trying to align with what is your most useful, highest purpose in the world at any given inflection point, right? And I feel like we have this sensor within us that tells us when we're not in alignment with that, right? I think we feel lonely, purposeless, feel sick, feel lack of momentum, sometimes even physically sick. We can feel despair or malaise. I think there's often signals that we're not aligning with our calling journey, and we need to find a way to identify some actionable, affordable next steps to move towards that calling journey. And when we do that, just the forced action alone, even if we don't feel like it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if we're not sure if it's right or not, the action alone, I think, produces positive emotion and joy because of the momentum that helps cure, the symptoms of dormancy that represent being out of alignment with your calling journey. So finding ways to align with whatever your next step in your calling journey is key to me. That's a key part of the book. And sometimes to be in alignment with our calling journey, we get to take steps that intentionally cause a little chaos in our lives and disassemble our lives and make us blow up our lives temporarily so we can go rebuild them newly and freshly. And that can be scary and that can seem insane sometimes. But sometimes what we need to do actually is to mess things up, to fix things up differently.
Yes, indeed. For me, I would imagine, at this point, with everything that you've done or you'd like to do, even from here now, especially, alignment, I would imagine, is a big part of it. You have to be aligned with it. So even for myself, that's the way I like to look at things. I like to be aligned with what I do, and it's purposeful somewhat. So
what does that mean for you? When you're aligned with what you do, what do you align with specifically? Is it a feeling? Is it like a specific vision, or what is it that you're aligning with?
I think it's a combination of all of it, truth be told. But I would say that the more biggest thing would be purpose.
Okay.
The purpose has to be concise. I'm heading in the right direction of what I want, and I'm doing for a cause. And I'm active. I'm proactive. I'm not just a part-time. Just getting it done, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which leads me to another thing I wanted to ask you about: legacy.
Yeah.
What's that to you? Or could you share your ideology behind legacy?
Yeah, I think, we're here for a limited time and we don't know exactly how much time we have. So if we're going to do things, let's try to do them where we make a dent in the world a little bit, or as much as possible. And, we have tools to document our lives and our ideas in ways that we hadn't had in history, with the internet and such. So maximize that for whoever might want to consume it in the future when you die, that it's valuable for them. Like, I think it's, to live on this earth and to never attempt to document what you've experienced, what you think you might have learned, what you're curious about, some sort of artistic expression, to not do your best to try to document that, I think is a real sin. Like, and why were you here? Just for your own consumption? Just for your own enjoyment? For your own passing through? You didn't have any higher purpose than that, to leave an imprint that might be, beneficial for others? I mean, I feel like that's incumbent upon us to try to do that as much as possible.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And but I'm very curious. So, you know, in the onset, or like was there a transition period for you to finding one of these many things that you do now? What was that transition period like? Was it anything that you could say stood out where it's quite it's trial related, where like you had to figure it out? Because I would imagine, you know, there is something to that transition period, and you probably remember it. It's prominent in your memory somewhat.
So do you mean like a transition period where I hadn't yet understood how to utilize failure for good, and then all of a sudden I did? Is that what you're saying? Like, what was that like?
No, more of the discovery of this person that you are, that was able to now juxtapose from one thing to the other. Mm-hmm. But clearly you learned something, and you know, so these days they call it algorithm, but you have something that was able to just like a formula, if you will, that no matter what you touch now, you can create success from it.
Yeah. I mean, there's multiple transitions. There was even periods of burnout where I just didn't feel like pursuing anything that was too ambitious. And it was almost like you need to like sometimes rest after the cessation of an ambitious pursuit to allow time and space for something else to come in and be born. So there was always transitions, but there's also a very cognizant awareness that you know, the goal or the opportunity was to transpose lessons and skills and talents from one pursuit to another, even when the pursuits themselves seem disparate, right? Yeah. So to you know, be in the music world and then somehow be in finance and still find inspiration as I'm pursuing banking and finance from the ethos of punk rock and how that informed me. You know, doesn't seem to make sense, but they crossed over, you know, or for like the discipline that I have in the gym or from bodybuilding, how that then transfers into the discipline to sit down and write, or, you know, the writing and the discipline some of the writing skills I learned writing a fictional spy novel still then helped me to add thriller elements into a nonfiction business kind of self-help book, right? So it's the transposition of skills from one seemingly unrelated realm or pursuit to another. You know, those transitions were important, connecting those dots.
Yeah, I mean, I just put my own spin on it. The one thing that I do here is you've mastered is the ability to endure growing pains.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, even to the point where, like, if I wasn't experiencing them at some level, even if a low level, it seemed like I wasn't even alive. Like almost like some sort of pain, even if like sustainable low level pain was an indication of growth and an indication of actually being alive. And if that was muted too much, it didn't feel right, or doesn't feel right.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, you know, sometimes pain is next to failure. You know, sometimes they're intertwined, and you have to decide for that.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so it's amazing. It's amazing. I wish you all the best with your book, man. I think this is something that people need to hear.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
We don't have much time left, but I would like to give you the floor if you have anything to share, to promote, or maybe advice to give to my audience that you think, you know, this would be important for them to know.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. Again, for your audience, the book is Failure Rules, the 5 Rules of Failure for Entrepreneurs, Creatives, and Authentics. So it kind of applies to everyone, whether an entrepreneur, an artist in any form, or just somebody trying to live your most authentic life and figure out what that means for your own calling journey and how to align with it, like I spoke about before. You can find it on Amazon, anywhere. Actually, you can find it anywhere online. It's available everywhere online, all different formats, audiobook, you know, hardcover, paperback, everything, ebook. So yeah, I would say go check that out, and just kind of like some concise sign off advice. I would say, don't be afraid of failure. Try to plan for it and avoid it if you can. But don't let the fear of failure stop you from pursuing something that you know you need to pursue, something that you that you will regret on your deathbed if you didn't pursue it, whether it fails or not. And as failure occurs, try to separate your identity from it. Don't take it personally. Realize you are not your failures, and figure out what you need to learn from it to help you be stronger and better, and have a wider perspective on your next season in life or your next pursuit. So yeah, I would say all that. And if anybody wants to follow me, I'm most active on Instagram. You can find me at Andrew Thorp King. No E on the end of Thorpe, so just THORP. So at Andrew Thorp King on Instagram.
Yes, indeed. It was a pleasure, man. Thanks so much, Mr. Andrew Thorp King. Thanks so much for
my man. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, man.
Enjoy the rest of your evening in the UK.
Same to you. Take care.
All right. See you, buddy. Bye.
Mind over matter, overcompensating, overstatements, crookedness relative, the soul's churn in return, mental overstimulation, one word, riveting.